Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the new Bataleon Cruiser, the little brother to the Carver, a board of theirs that I absolutely adore. This board features Bataleon's medium camber with 3BT and sidekick technology. Medium camber is just traditional camber with not a lot of rise in it, so from contact point to contact point you get that arc of traditional camber. Then you get that 3BT and sidekick in the nose, which kind of scoops it out. The 3BT on this is a little more defined and creates a narrower section down the middle. It's also lengthened back closer to that front foot. So what you're going to notice with that is that ease of entry and roll from edge to edge, which will really help you with carves. And it brings back that drive point to just outside the front foot. Now the tail is less defined. That's going to give you a little more edge bite in there and help give you a little more power out of a turn. This board is available in 151, 156, 159, and 164. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a sunny bluebird day, 0 winds, warmer temps. It was basic, perfect hero snow. You had a little chop and chunder and maybe a tiny amount of ice, but the corduroy was perfect. It was really easy to set an edge in, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. So this board is your full-blown free ride carver with a directional flex. It's not a plank, which is nice, but it is on the stiffer side. So you do start out with a slightly softer nose that stiffens up right outside the front foot, back through the tail. The torsional flex is there, which really does let you ankle steer when you need to. Now, what you need to know about the stability of this board is the width. It's a 26.5 on the 159, which I rode. So you do end up with that stability from the width coupled with the camber profile. Sure, the nose does get shattered, but it completely dissipates before it hits that front foot. And then it basically just becomes a powerhouse. And then it basically just becomes a powerhouse inside that front foot back through the tail. You're going to get a lot of power and drive out of this board. It's remotely lively, but damp enough that you're not getting bucked around with this deck. So you do have to load this camber profile up to get it to engage, and you get an abrupt snap right where the tail upkick is. It's very pronounced, like you basically roll back on that back foot and it's just like springboarding you up. Is it the snappiest board out there? No. Is it enough to get the job done? Yes, and that's really what counts with this board because you want to keep it on the ground, turning and burning. All right, so here we are with what this board is actually designed for, carving. This is a more approachable version of the Carver, so it's your resort carver cruiser, and it doesn't disappoint. This is a board that you can feel that nose 3BT in action and how it changes that power transmission from toe to heel. It's got a smooth roll. It brings it back closer to the front foot where you're going to drive it, and then from inside that front foot back, you get all your power. Now the tail with that 3BT, sometimes on really icy conditions, would kick out, so you got to be aware of that. That's just the nature of the design of this. But when this board is on edge, it just feels smooth and stable. It wants to cut from one side of the run back to the other. This is a board that really does, in the right snow conditions, excel at carving. You notice right away that this thing just wants to swoop from edge to edge. It wants to let you lay it over. You can be aggressive with your carve or laid back, which is nice. It does what you need to do. Those short, tight, quick turns, those deep, hard Euro carves where you're laying it over, it's got you covered within reason. I mean, obviously, straight sheet ice, boilerplate, East Coast, probably wouldn't be my first choice, but it does change the dynamic of how you carve with that 3BT. So you gotta be aware of that. If you're one of those old school guys that always rode camber, likes ripping carves, you might not like that 3D shaping in there. You gotta take the time to understand the subtle nuances and how that changes the dynamic. This is a board that when you're driving from the center back through the tail, you can feel it. It's smooth. It plows through everything in its path for the most part. But when you're on ice, it just disengages right at that tail. It just doesn't have that edge bite that you would expect. Who's this board for? The Mellow Resort Carver. This is a laid-back version of the Carver, and I like it for that. Is it going to be an everyday board for everyone? No. It's a niche board that fits the niche that it's in, and there are people that are going to absolutely love it, and there's going to be people that don't like it. What I didn't really like about it was that tail contact point. You lose that bite when you're trying to just drive it off the back foot. It felt like a detuned park board. It just wouldn't engage the way I wanted it to. What I absolutely loved was the edge-to-edge transmission, how smooth and fluid it feels. It's lively where it counts, yet still damp and pushes through what you need it to. It's a board for the right person. Am I that right person? Maybe on select days of the year. Like, this would be a board that I'd maybe bust out 8 to 10 days of the year if I was lucky. But there's people out there that want something like this for those 8 to 10, 15 days that they actually ride. I dug this board. Like, don't get me wrong. I just know that it's not the right board for my style of riding. Comparable boards: the Nidecker Thruster, the Amplid Soli Grail, the Karua Pencil. Binding recommendations: the Bataleon Astro, the Ride C9, the Union Atlas Pro. This has been my review of the Bataleon Cruiser. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.